For the next 3 days, I'll be eating nothing but Asda's Just Essentials ready meals. As always, there are just 2 rules. The first is I can only eat meals from Asda's Just Essentials range, and they have to be ready to cook. I'm not cooking from scratch here. The second is I must have 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner. I'm also going to try and do this for under £4 a day, or as little money as I possibly can. I quite like the Iceland £1 range, and Asda are trying to compete with a 99p range, although it's much more limited. And we all know that if I'm ever reviewing food, I've always got to do it in a challenge format, because it's just that much more silly. And we like silly here. Should be an interesting 3 days. So on top of the 6.99p meals that they have, they also do £2.20 variants of the same meals. And because of this and the budget I've set myself, there's probably not going to be too much room for snacking. And I should say you guys probably shouldn't try this at home. If you do it, supplement it with some fruit, some veg, other things like that. I'm just not doing that because otherwise this video would just be called I ate for 3 days and that would be boring. Anyway, with that, it was time to shop. What I saw first was the £2.20 meals. I'm going to do those at some point in this challenge. Not right now. Right now we're going for the 99p ones. Okay, here we go. I found what we came for. And in all their yellow glory, the 99p meals were there. All 6 of them. I scooped them all up and went to go pay so we could get this underway. Also typically, it's midday, so I haven't eaten yet. Yeah, usually I go shopping the day before, but in this instance my friend was round so I didn't get a chance, and he only left the first morning, so I haven't eaten yet at all. Anyone else notice that 4 out of 6 of these are pasta? I suppose it's because it's quick and easy to make, right? And it's cheap to make, so that's probably why, but 4 out of 6. That's 4 pasta dishes in 2 days. And probably another one on day 3. Yay. And I figured it was probably wise to get rid of what was inevitably going to be the worst thing first. We're going to start with beef slices and gravy and move very promptly onto the cheese and tomato pasta. I'm worried about this. There's just no 2 words about it. I'm worried about this and I'm microwaving it. Do you think I'm worried about this? This is what we have to work with. Into the microwave it went. I don't hold out hope. I really, really don't. What I was left with once it was cooked was this brown substance, supposedly gravy, and these rubbery looking things of what was supposed to be beef. We're going bold. I don't know who the target audience for this is. I really don't. Smells like my cat's food. Look at this. Yeah, that is not good. The beef gravy, okay, that's all right. Tastes like a bisto. This awful beef strip stuff. It's old school dinner from the 90s vibes. I honestly don't know why I do this sometimes. Not an ideal start, but luckily for me it was already lunchtime and I got to have the cheese and tomato pasta next, which honestly looked much better than I anticipated. This actually doesn't look or smell too bad. Oh, look, there's a bit of cheese pulling and falling there. This might be alright for 99p, this might be alright. That's got a really nice sweetness, the tomato sauce. The pasta it's pasta, so it's fine. There is naught wrong with this. I actually think this is really impressive. I say impressive. You can make it at home and it will be 10 times better. The sauce is nice. It's nicer than most Dolmio sauces and things that you get. In fact, almost tastes a bit like some of the Lloyd Grossman ones you get. It's a nice sauce, is what I'm trying to say. For 99p, it was actually really good. Surprising considering how these cheap frozen pasta meals usually taste. I'd even go so far as to say I actually recommend this one. Yeah, mad. The rest of the day was a quick dog walk, followed by playing the new Pokemon game, which despite the hate from a lot of people online, it's actually really fun. It's not like you play Pokemon for the graphics, right? I know a lot of you know that I'm a gamer, and I don't actually understand this whole mentality of, oh, everything must look absolutely beautiful and the best graphics humanly possible, because graphics don't make a good game. I've played plenty of games which have amazing graphics and they were awful. I'd rather play a game with much less better graphics and much more fun. You know? Just saying. Anyway, I digress. Dinner time. We're gonna go for the lasagna. I'm kind of hoping it's as good as that lunch earlier. We're gonna do it in the oven, because you're not getting any. I don't know, I just don't want to microwave it. It looked a bit see-through coming out of the packet, and I hoped it looked better cooked. Which it did, you know, it didn't look all that bad. I'll tell you what this lasagna doesn't look like. That. I never really rated the one from Iceland. It looks like an alright bite of food. Ooh, that needs to cool down a bit. I can't say I'm sure how I feel about this. Isn't quite as flavourful on first bite as the cheese and tomato pasta. I mean, it's not awful. The white sauce doesn't really taste of anything. And the meat sauce, if you can even call it meat sauce, like the most minuscule grains of meat you could ever imagine. What is the meat content in this actually? I'm intrigued. 12% beef, 14% lasagna sheets. I ate it all and left feeling actually quite satisfied with the whole thing.
As you can see, I've still eaten every last bite, like I always do. Don't know why I talk like Michael Caine when I say that though.
And that was day one, which was a total of £2.97 in cost and under 50% of my usual calorific intake. Another reason why I say don't do this at home unless you're going to supplement it with some good things, some extra snacks, some fruit, some veg, all of that kind of thing on the side, have a salad on the side, lasagna, you know. It's just not a very healthy calorific intake to keep up. But I do eat very healthily and very heartily in between these challenges to make up for when I do them. Think how Beard Meats Food eats very little calories before he does a really large food challenge. I basically do the opposite. I load up. Day 2 was here and I was about to live my worst fear in these challenges.
It's finally happened, guys. My worst fear. Pasta for breakfast.
My other fear is you guys not subscribing after you watch one of these videos, so you know what to do. Hit the button. Whilst it cooked, I entered a state of quiet reflection.
I've always said I don't really want to do this, but let's be real. It was only a matter of time. I suppose in a way it's kind of like cereal, right? It's just things, carbs mostly, in a white substance. I'm gonna pretend it's milk.
Ah yes, my favourite kind of cereal.
I don't think this is going to go down too well. I'm starting to get millennial lactose intolerance, you know, when you're just suddenly in your 30s as a millennial and now you're lactose intolerant. It's not fun. It's not. Does it stop me eating dairy? No, not at all. Is this going to ruin me first thing in the morning? You bet.
So here I was, 7:45 in the morning and shoveling mac and cheese into my gob.
It's cheesier than I thought it would be, but that's a good thing in terms of taste.
I really needed something proper for breakfast tomorrow. Before getting ready for the day, I jumped on the bike to get some movement in, as 2 days straight sat on the sofa playing Pokemon had me feeling a bit gross. Remember to move, people.
So for the 4th time in a row, it's time for pasta. We've got spag bol. So another iteration of tomato-y, meaty, cheesy, pasta-y stuff.
I haven't had much luck with frozen spaghetti bolognese in the past, so I hoped this one would fare better.
I never know how many holes you're meant to do.
Plating it up, it did look like the packet this time, which I suppose is a good thing, and I tucked into my spaghetti lunch.
But it does also look like spaghetti out of a tin, which I'm slightly worried about.
Everything but the beef has been alright so far, to be fair, so we can only hope.
Slightly under-seasoned, but
I'm gonna hold my hands up and say, these aren't bad. I'd say a lot of these feel a little bit better than the Iceland one. What's interesting to me is the salt intake on this is apparently 28%, and yet it does feel like it needs more salt. Most of these things have, which is a bit worrying.
Honestly, I don't mind this one bit. I make a way better spag bol though.
Following this, I needed to do my next shop for the following day. I recently got this very cozy coat, so put it on for its first outing and headed out into the rain.
I kind of already know what we're going for in this shop. I'm gonna get a pizza. Gotta compare a pizza to the Iceland £1 pizza. I'm gonna get one of the £2.20 meals, probably the lasagna, because I want to see if the lasagna for an extra £1.21 is more and better than the 99p one. And then I want an actual breakfast. I don't know, do they do like breakfast pastries or something? Like that's a ready meal, sort of, if it's ready to eat, or just whack in the oven. Like, do they have a couple of frozen pastries, or I don't know. Let's see what we can find. Let's go, let's do it. Tell you what though, it's finally starting to feel like October, isn't it?
Inside, I headed straight for the £2.20 ready meals.
Okay, there we go, this one is £2.20. What's it going to be like in comparison to the 99p one? I could not tell you, I have no idea.
And made a beeline for the pizza. £1.10 for this one, and then the hunt for breakfast began.
I found a contender for breakfast, but it's more savoury than sweet. I kind of think I want something sweet. I don't know, I like a sweet breakfast, me.
But then I spotted this delight.
Look, it's tempting, but don't think I can do it. Bit too much for brekkie. Here we go. 2 cheese and bean bakes. That's breakfasty. We like beans, we like bakes, we like cheese. So I think it'll be alright.
Yeah, this was pretty much all they had in kind of like breakfast kind of food, if you would even call this a breakfast kind of food. There was pretty much nothing else. I wasn't willing to have like another pasta or a curry or something for breakfast, so I had plenty of these kind of things when I did Iceland, so I think it works out.
Pretty successful, I must say. Only 2 items weren't £1, and one of those was £1.10. I also got some of these for after the challenge because these are the greatest sweets, chocolate, whatever you want to call it, in the world.
The next hour or so I spent building the Lego Zelda set my brother got me for my birthday. It's a really sick set for a nostalgic fan like me.
Here you go. Here's what I've completed so far. It's getting there. It's pretty big.
I love pacing my Lego out whenever I do have it. I don't have many sets, but it's such a therapeutic way of winding down. And I really want the One Piece Going Merry set, so please watch to the end of this video. Following some more Pokemon, Riley and I headed out.
Here's the thing with big breed dogs. Rain or shine, you gotta take them out. You just do. After all that, I think it's an early pyjama day today.
So then I got changed and grabbed the pizza that I bought so I could continue this Italian on Italian on Italian theme. It turns out this oven of mine has a pizza function. So we're going to try it out because I've never used it before. In she goes. 10 to 12 minutes. Pizza mode worked and it actually looked pretty good for a cheap frozen pizza. But the real question was in the taste. It's a little greasy, but as far as frozen supermarket pizzas go, it looks alright. Got a nice crisp base, I think, from using the pizza pan. Tomato sauce is not too sweet. A good amount of cheese on there, nice flavour. It tastes like a cheap frozen pizza, but I've had a lot of cheap frozen pizzas which are awful. This is not one of them. I'm very content after that. I even got a knife and fork out and didn't use it. Normally I have a pizza with a knife and fork at home. I know I'm weird. You get a bit wet and you're sad. Oh baby, you need to dry off, okay? So after day 2, the food I'd eaten was worth £3.08 and my calorie intake was on a 16.3% deficit, which was much better than the day before. And finally, the final day was finally here.
Just woken up. I am starving this morning. Maybe yesterday wasn't quite enough food. Hopefully, a couple of pasties. Today I might just have one. Ooh, I don't know though. I'm hungry.
So into the air fryer they went, and they came out alright looking, you know. Air fryer always does give these things a lovely golden brown.
They look alright, you know. They're literally just pastry squares. They haven't even gone for like a pretty pattern on them or anything like that.
These weren't great, but they weren't awful. Decent enough for breakfast and definitely good enough to fill me up. It was 2 for £1. I will admit, these are a little bit bland. At least the Iceland ones had sausage in them. These don't. Same price too. Finishing up at least made me feel satisfied and ready to start the rest of my day. Which was pretty much as you can expect. A little bit more Pokemon, a bit of anime. Hey, it was a day off and I needed to unwind. When lunch finally got here, it was time to try the second lasagna. At £1.21 more than the 99p version, I'd hoped it was a big improvement on quality.
Let's go lasagna, let's go. This one still only has 12% beef. Looks and smells better right away, but we gotta do it in the oven for a fair test.
This one wasn't frozen either, so straight out of the packet it at least looked a bit more appealing than the last one. But the main question was going to be, how did it taste? I know I'm going to burn my mouth for a second time. We'll try a bit more of the beef by itself. It's the main flavour thing here. Okay, I already have my verdict after one bite. It's the same bloody thing. Okay, the meat sauce is a slightly better, tangier flavour. The white sauce, again, barely tastes of much. It's lacking cheese. It needs more cheese smothered over the top of it. It certainly seems like there's more meat despite it being the same meat percentage. Certainly not worth £1.21 more for this one. Maybe it is the same one. Sometimes something more fresh and not frozen costs a lot more money. Could be down to that. I'm not particularly impressed in comparison, if I'm being honest with you. That surprised me actually. I genuinely thought for the extra price that this would taste a bit better, but no, it's barely noticeable. That or everything is just starting to taste the same to me after eating the same range for 3 days. Anyway, it was time for dinner, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different.
Yummy, yummy, yummy chicken curry in my tummy, and I feel like loving you. Let's go.
There you go. Dinner's ready.
Just gotta decant it. The main thing to note here, as with all of these chicken curries, is the pieces of chicken never look the same.
Yep, so here it is. Thought I'd eat it here with you. I act like I'm doing this live. I'm not exactly doing it live, am I? Smells alright. Could do with some salt. The rice is fully coated, which I like, because sometimes you get these things and there's barely enough sauce for the rice. The rice is a very, very, very mild curry sauce. It's just like, I don't know, something like coconut milk with a bit of mild curry powder chucked into it. That's what it tastes like, but it's not bad. I actually don't mind it. If I had to rank the 6.99p meals we had, I'll put the cheese and tomato up top, and this a very close second. I'm content with this. It's a decent dinner. Which means after this meal and the final day, I'd spent a further £4.19, bringing our total spend for the 3 days at £10.24. And my calorie deficit for this day was at a 30.6% deficit. I'm not going to work out the total because, yeah, it's not great. So I'm going to finish this and maybe in a few hours have a banana, have my snow bites. Anyway, I'll see you next time where I'm going to eat more food.